Uh, Jermaine, you're the lucky man today, right? We're gonna just lead a bit of a call. So, like we were talking about yesterday, whatever it is that you want to talk about, whatever topics, whatever comes to mind, anything that just anything you want to share today,
Okay.
so we can all learn from.
Okay. Um. So to start now.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So one of the things that I'm working on building, or that I am building, is just my thought process. What I think about myself. I've stated before the quote from Jim Quick, spelled with a K, not a Q. um, that our minds are like a supercomputer, and our thoughts are what the program runs off of. And then another one is by Bob Proctor, which everyone I'm pretty sure knows, is a meditation that I listen to in the mornings. Is he says, a man or a woman's chief delusion is our conviction that things happen outside of our conscious mind. And so as I think about that, and I think about I probably never brought up my older brother. I have an older brother who's like 44 years old, and since about the time he was 17 till now, he's been in prison. He's probably been out of prison maybe a year out of that whole time span. And yet, yes, or a couple days ago, I got, he gets out of jail and then he ends up messing up, and typically he goes back. But he was in the hospital for like hitting somebody or something like that, and he messed his hand up, and I don't know what happened. He tells his story, but he has issues with drugs, and so you just never know. But when he was in the hospital, he's been clean probably for about 2 weeks, and so I could sort of kind of talk to him and get his right state of mind. And like what you always tell me, Steve, is you listen to people, what people are saying. And it's been a while where I actually like listen to what people are saying, to actually not respond, but just actually hearing the words that are coming from him. And some of the stuff that he was saying, it just, it was just like, man, this is probably some of the stuff I do, obviously not on that scale, but it was just like, man, just what we think about ourselves and what we think we can do. And he was just sort of kind of okay with basically being homeless for the most part, and starting there. And he has communities and so forth that he was in, and he was just telling me all this stuff. And it just makes you think, like, man, I started thinking about myself, and you, Steve, in particular. You're always calling me out on the choice of words that I use and so forth, and I respect that, and I like that you do that, because then it makes me think subconsciously. I've been listening to this this I've been listening to that meditation every morning, and that part always stood out to me. But when you really dive in and think about the words that you choose to say, and then how you feel about yourself, whether you believe you can or you can't, it's the ultimate truth. And so I've been transforming the way that I think, my mind, and the words that I use on a daily basis, especially when it comes to myself and my beliefs and what I want to do from here with my business, growing my business, the type of husband I want to be, the type of father that I want to be, and just levelly playing all that stuff out, but understanding that regardless of the situation or the circumstance that I'm in, whether I think it's bad or I think, whatever the circumstance is, ultimately understanding that with the work that I'm putting into the things that I'm doing, and believing in myself and being positive, is what is very key with regards to everything in life. And so um, I'm implementing better words. I'm obviously working harder to accomplish the goals that I need and I want to get to become, like everybody, financially free. And to even go beyond that, I saw a video where a guy had took his whole family, and not just his immediate family, but everybody in his family, out on like a trip. And the feeling that he had, and I remember looking in his eyes, and just because he was able to do something like that, and then he brought family that has never done, been out of their city, let alone, on a vacation, to just see different things. And I always talk about that situation as well, because if for myself going to a private school and then seeing something different than what I saw, I grew up in Southeast San Diego, which is not one of the most horrible places, but just seeing something different. All I saw was my uncles and my father and so forth, and it was just either drugs, selling drugs, or possibly playing sports to get out of that area. But going to that private school, I was able to see. I feel like I'm all over the place, but going to that private school, I was able to see doctors and see other things that I could actually be that didn't entail playing sports or selling drugs or being, or stealing money or whatnot. And that's just the reality of stuff. And so as I am growing in this group, thank you to everybody who's here, and with Steve in particular, like how I met you and how it just sort of kind of happened and things started rolling. Um, it's just the mind state. I'm realizing how important what you think and what you say determines your life. And so I'm just excited about where I'm going to go and where I am headed and the success and so forth that is right down the pipeline, that is happening currently now as we speak, and going forth. And that's just sort of kind of what it is, just the mind state, and then the choice of words that you use on your daily, especially when you're dealing with yourself, is very important, and to keep those things positive. And yeah, sometimes we think we're going through something tough, and then when you realize it's not really tough, it's not the end of the world, you're not going to die. And once I'm starting to understand that, it just makes life so much easier. So that's it.
Unmute myself. First of all, I think that's amazing, because we're always so close to really being present, but unless we focus on what it means to be present, you're missing the little details, right? A word here, a word there, that just, my whole life I used words that would allow me to get out of something. I would place these words there that would come across as a big maybe versus a commitment. And so that's the first thing that I just want to acknowledge you for in what you were saying, because you were present and you heard your brother differently, right? And the things that he was saying. And then the quote from Bob Proctor stood out even more. It's like, oh, it means more of this. And I'm always trying to get to the root of why are we holding ourselves back? Like, how is it that we're afraid of our own shadows when the shadow is ours? And so last night I was watching these Medal of Honor, episodes on Netflix on a docu-series. And so many times on different episodes, I would hear that once you finally accept that you're probably going to die and you're okay with it, right? Then you just do. All of a sudden, you're watching these people do these insanely courageous acts of valor that are like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm not saying to go out there and be unsafe. I'm just saying that there's a trigger. There's something that we let go of, that all of a sudden judgment or the noise in our head or whatever, it's gone. And we start doing these things where everybody is all of a sudden looking at you like, how is this happening? And so as I work through, my details more and more each and every day that passes, I'm always working on letting go of the things that keep me from being that person. The things that stop us from being more courageous or courageous enough, or even to just take the first step. Sometimes we're so crippled in anything. Yesterday I was teaching at the real estate board, and I tell them all the same thing. I put all my information on the wall, phone number, email, and I tell them throughout. I say there's a 95-5 rule. 5% of you will use my information, even though I gave it to 100% of you. And instead of just calling me, like I'm telling you, call me for anything real estate related. Anything that you want to know, whether you believe me or not, just try me. Call me, text me. I'll get it. I'll respond to it. But I go, there's only 5% of you that will do that. Unfortunately, these statistics, they stand out in every asset of our life. And it's like, why do we have to do that? Why do we get in front of our own path? Why is judgment so strong on ourselves that we decide not to? So, for you using better or more powerful or forgiving words or empowering words, whatever they are, it really is what it's that level of commitment. The words that we use truly define our level of commitment in anything. I will. I'll get it done. Don't worry. Absolutely. Right? Versus, I think I can probably do that. I might show up if, and we just do that so often. And so, I don't know, inherently inside of me, I've been a ask for forgiveness guy instead of ask for permission most of the time. And not that I'm trying to do anything wrong, but it's like I want to do. And if you're breaking rules and things like that, that's different. But if it's like something questionable that you have to make a game time decision and then you step up as your own leader and you go and you make it happen and you do, those are the things that will define us in the future of what we're willing to do, what we're not willing to do. Are we going to break through it? Are we going to persevere? And it's like nothing that we do, like most back to those videos, so many of these people were getting like shot up and somehow they still pushed through, got the mission done. A lot of them didn't survive, but the ones that did, one guy was shot 4 times and he took out this German infantry and then interrogated these guys in German because of the way he grew up and he knew 4 languages and he was bleeding out. And they couldn't even take him to a field hospital until he finished debriefing everybody about where the Germans were, setting up machine gun nests and stuff like that in World War II. And this guy was like shot multiple times. But yet there was nothing about him. It was just beyond self. And those are the things that there are these crazy moments where you're in these weird theaters, right? In the theater of war, it's so different than anything that we know. We have traffic lights, we have stop lights, we have alarms to go off, we have habit, we have all these things, we have all this freedom. But yet now when we go to work, right, think about what gets in your way. Like when I go and I work my business, I'm not afraid of posting a shitty Instagram video or whatever. Like, just do it. If it sucks, somebody's going to make a comment about it and I'll go, yeah, you were right, I just have to get the content out. As opposed to, oh my God, it has to be so perfect. But perfect for who? And so that's the question that we always have to ask ourselves. Like everything that stops us, we're stopping it for who? Right? I'm not going to lie. There's a few pounds that I still want to shed from COVID and things like that. And so we suck our guts in as guys, right? To try not to make it look like stuff. But for who? 40% of the American population is considered obese. Right? Does that mean 40% of this population is being judged all the time, or is that just in our head? And it's just not necessary. And this applies to everything. Again, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So as I keep whittling away at working to improve and shed this stuff so that I can do everything that I attempt to do in work. And thankfully, from a work perspective, I've got so much of that down. But there are still things that need improvement on the life things. It's like, God, Dave always says you're inner fat kid to me, right? Because he knows I like chocolate and stuff like that. And it's sometimes when, why does that happen? Not that I don't love chocolate, I love chocolate. But it's like, why do we search out things that make us comfortable when we're not in a great mood or something has happened? We'll go try to fulfill a feeling, even if it's a fleeting moment, right? Sugar, just the release of endorphins in our head from that and just feeling good for a second. Or people that are hooked on crack, right? Let's go something dramatic. They're always chasing the high, which apparently you can never get the same one with the first time you try it. But they're chasing that and chasing a feeling more and more and more and more and more. And I'm using these examples because it's kind of what we do. We're looking for it's more like self-affirmation, and and that's all being played out in this theater, you know? Nobody's out there giving a shit like we're giving a shit about ourselves, right? If you're going to go do whatever it is that you're doing for work, and then you have the biggest opportunity of your life, and then all of a sudden you start sweating it out and panicking, that wasn't because you didn't know how to do whatever you are going to do. It's because all of a sudden you told yourself that you're probably not good enough, you're going to fail, they're going to see you for what you are, you're a fake or whatever. And it's like we literally created this entire mini series in our head. So it all starts with not just what we think, but in conjunction to what we say. So with you acknowledging your words, man, and understanding that your words will empower you or your words will just sideline you or, I don't know, put you in the dark sometimes. The words and the thoughts are everything. And then everything else just follows, right? Everything else just follows. And I will tell you, as you work to shed more and more of those things that are holding you back, languaging, thoughts, all that stuff, and then you step into more and more of like who Jermaine really is and who Jermaine knows who he is and what Jermaine's already done in life, because you've already proven yourself multiple times that you're more than capable, but yet because most of life is so mundane, it's like these incredible episodes aren't happening every day, but shit happens all the time. And so we focus on the shit instead of like, why? Why am I doing that? This is who I really am. So I love that. And it's interesting that you had a conversation with your brother, and maybe picked some things off or picked some things out or saw what it is that could potentially even be and has held him back for most of his life. Just in his languaging or his thoughts or in his future, hopeless or I don't know. Right? But it's like the most famous people that we know, like even if you take Oprah's story, right? Like she was waiting to be discovered. I remember just hearing her story again the other day, as a news anchor. And she was telling one of her friends, I think that was an acting coach, because she couldn't do much because she was always on the news. She was an anchor. But she was like, I'm going to be discovered. I'm going to be discovered. And then she gets discovered. But all the things that she had to fight for in order to get to where she was, to then get in a position where she had to hope and wait that she would get discovered, right? And then all the things that happened in her life and her upbringing before all those things. And you could look at so many people, right? Even Tony Robbins down to like the last 20 or 40 bucks in his pocket. And I remember listening to one of his stories, and he gave the money to a kid that was taking his mom out on a date. And he just took like some of the remaining money he had in his pocket and gave it to this boy because he respected what the boy was doing for his mom. And then the next thing you know, like you're thinking, that's like, how you going to eat? Then all of a sudden, money that a friend owed him all of a sudden showed up in the mail where this guy's been dodging Tony Robbins forever. And then the money shows up and then he has money again. It's like, it's so hard to trust that things are going to work out or that people will show up, but it will, and they do. And it doesn't mean it's instant, and there might be a lesson or a story to still learn or be told or share or experience. I don't know. But it's like these frequencies, it's like we're always turning the channel as opposed to just being on one channel, focusing on progress. Instead, it's like progress, and then boom, and then bang, and then. So the more in tune you keep getting with how you're talking to yourself or how you're sharing your words with people, the world, whatever, that is when you know that you'll step up, because you don't hear leaders speaking in maybes or possibilities or if. You just don't hear that. It's like, I'm going to go do that. And I have someone like that in my life, the office that I work at. And I've seen him do everything that he's ever wanted to accomplish at this crazy high level that blows my mind. But I know it's possible because I'm watching someone do it actively. He's just, what is he, 41 now? And this guy is insane for what he can do, but he just believes. And there are some people where it comes easier to. There just are, but that doesn't mean we can't all catch up, right? So you just got to use your own mental steroids to pump it up and just focus on the right messaging because everything else is a load of shit. Everybody else's story and drama that isn't serving or moving things forward or working to figure things out is just a delay in their own growth, right? Let's just go watch Maury and Montel all day and watch people fight, right? It's not the world we surround ourselves with. So I look forward to your continued growth, man, because just hearing these things, Jermaine, is awesome. And Camelia, is that how I say your name? You're on mute. I'll unmute you. Uh,
Yes, that's how you say my name.
Very nice to meet you. And
Nice to meet you too.
I'll share what this group is all about. But this whole week is about our members leading the calls. But we typically just talk about all the things that we're carrying with us personally and professionally, share them openly, and then work to empower ourselves so that we can go kick ass. Because once we hear multiple stories of everyone's dealing with something, then when we know we're not alone, it's easier to recognize that, you know, shit may never go away, but if everyone's dealing with it, then what's my excuse now? And that's what we do. And we build ourselves up to go get it so that we can take charge, not just control of future and work, possibilities, personal life, fixing drama, being the first to apologize. So that's what we're about here.
Okay.
So you kind of caught a part of the call. I know you were about 5 or 6 minutes behind, so you didn't get to hear the opening of everything, but I hope that at least what you stepped into was something that can at least resonate with what you experience in life on your own.
It does.
It does. So,
Yeah.
so I'd love to invite you back for a call tomorrow so you can get the full gist. We're going to wrap it up. They're usually between 15 and 30 minutes.
Okay, no problem. I was in my office and then I remember and I just run come outside and
Yeah.
just hop in
No,
the call.
I appreciate you jumping on. And tomorrow, should you show up for our call tomorrow, then again you'll get to see and experience a full call. But I hope
Okay,
you got something out of this as well for the short period you were here.
okay, no problem. Hope I'm on time tomorrow.
Absolutely. All right, guys. We'll catch you all tomorrow. Thank you so much, Jermaine.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.